Trans people participating in sports statistically is a non-issue. So why is it such a big deal? What's up, everyone? I'm Just Wayne, and welcome to Let's Be Clear, where we talk about everything at the intersection of pop culture and politics. And before we dive into this topic, please, if you like the things we talk about, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, like the video, share with everyone. I'd be eternally grateful. Now, once again, we have this topic, this headline, where Sophie Cunningham, who, for being clear, is more known for pointing than she is playing point guard, who made a statement on a podcast recently saying that she does not believe that trans people deserve to play or should be playing women's sports. And this set off all kinds of headlines. It's the WNBA, right? It is probably the wokest and queerest of all of the professional sports leagues. So there are all of these think pieces, all these conversations that are happening online. Multiple players and coaches in the WNBA feel the need to respond. And this is all happening in the midst of WNBA All-Star Weekend. So there's a particular emphasis and focus that's being placed there. As they came back from All-Star Weekend, the Indiana Fever, which is the team that Sophie Cunningham plays for, played the Minnesota Lynx. And the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeve, wore a shirt that said "Trans Kids Belong." She also had a conversation. Cheryl had a conversation with Sophie Cunningham before the game. Neither of them shared or disclosed what was discussed during that conversation. But in the immediate aftermath of that, there was also another photo that was taken with Sophie Cunningham and Riley Gaines. Now, Riley Gaines is famously known for being an anti-trans activist because Riley Gaines also famously finished tied for fifth at the NCAA's in swimming. She tied with Leah Thomas, who is a trans woman. So Riley Gaines has made her career on being an anti-trans activist because of the time that she tied for fifth with a trans person. Now, you would think with all this commotion, you have political activists showing up, you have coaches who are wearing merch to support people, right? There were all kinds of protests that were happening. If you go online, there's endless think pieces. You would think that this is the most significant thing that's happening in women's sports. But statistically speaking, that's just not the case. According to the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, when he testified in 2024, he stated that there were less than 10 trans athletes participating in all of the NCAA, which is about 500,000 athletes. That is literally 0.002% of NCAA athletes are trans. If you take it on a high school level, which is the part that people seem to be very concerned about, there are about 8 million kids participating in high school sports across the country. And according to state data, because there's no federal database for this, there is about 100 trans kids participating in high school sports. 100 out of 8 million. That's 0.001%. And remember, like I said, you have people like Riley Gaines, whose claim to fame is the fact that she tied for fifth with Leah Thomas. Notice, by the way, that she tied with the trans person. That if there was a ban on trans people participating in sport, Riley Gaines wouldn't have fared better. She would have fared the exact same. It also tells us that there are 4 women who swam faster than both the anti-trans activist and the trans woman. But despite this, Republicans ran in 2024 on this idea of keeping boys out of girls' sports, and it was everywhere. I mean, it became a rallying cry specifically from the person who would become the president of the United States. He had what, if you follow me, you know that I do not like Trump in any way, shape, or form. And at the same time, there are times I watch Trump and the Trump administration and think, God, this would be a great Office spinoff. Like if we were just able to see Trump and the Trump administration as like a mockumentary like TV show, the mess would be hilarious. Some of the stuff he says sometimes, and this is one of my favorite Trumpisms.
No men. We want no men in women's sports. Transgender, they want transgender for everybody.
They want transgender for everybody. And I ask myself all the time, like, I wonder when the first time he said that, like, if he just said it and was like, transgender for everyone. I like that a lot. And like the hilarious thing is like,
humps? I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
It is. Like no one knows what it means. Statistically speaking, once again, this is a non-issue. We're talking about a grand total of maybe 108 trans athletes. competing in the midst of 8.5 million athletes. No one knows what transgender for everyone means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. It got the people going to the polls to vote for this. It gets people having these conversations. It gets people straight up lying about what is happening in schools. I say this as a former teacher and a middle school administrator. You know how hard it is to get kids to go to class? If you think that teachers have the ability to cause kids to have sexual reassignment surgery, you've lost your mind. We can't even get them to show up with a pencil or go straight to the bathroom with their pass and come back. But because it's provocative and it gets the people going, we're not looking at it statistically. It has become a political football that is thrown whenever other things aren't working. So here it is. The WNBA is experiencing the largest growth that it's ever experienced as a league, right? Huge media contracts. There's more attention. The players are getting paid more. And the conversation we're having is about whether or not trans athletes can participate in a league where there are no trans athletes. And what has happened since 2024, when Charlie Baker said there were about less than 10 trans athletes in the NCAA, is the Trump administration wrote an executive order that made it so that the NCAA couldn't have trans athletes. And so they banned them. The Olympics also doesn't have trans athletes. They were banned. What changed because of that? What improvements have come about? Really, all that's happening is that a bunch of folks believe that there is this group of boys who are sitting aside going, oh, I'd be so much better at sports if I were a girl, completely missing all the psychological elements that go into a person deciding to transition. The psychological elements that are involved in a person's internal when they are discovering that they are trans, that they feel a complete disconnect between who they believe themselves to be and how they're expressing and presenting. Like if you've ever met a person who's trans, you talk to them, you understand it's not a thing where you wake up one day and go, I'm going to be a girl today. It's just not how that works. But that's the fear-mongering, is that some boy is going to turn around and just do this. But really, what is more likely is a Leah Thomas, a trans person who moves and goes through all of the physical elements of becoming a woman, and the process actually finds himself not even as good as all the other women. And I just sit back sometimes as I look at the state of the country, as the economy is in the trash, as we've defunded education, as we're in an endless war, as we can't even eat salads because we're not tracking foodborne illnesses, as there was a screw tapeworm outbreak that we couldn't track because we got rid of the department that searched that, as parts of the country are on fire, as all of these things are happening, nothing is going well. I wonder sometimes if people sit back and they go, yeah, the country is in the tank. Gas is through the roof. Groceries are out of control, but at least 108 trans kids are not competing with the other 8.5 million. At least that's not the case. At least we won there. And even then, you won. The laws have been passed. Why are we still having this conversation? Honestly, it's because at the end of the day,
Lady humps? I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
It gets
gross.
the people going.
thanks for coming to my TED Talk. This has been Let's Clear. Let's be clear. I'm just Wayne. And hey, if you enjoy conversations like this, please make sure that you're liking, subscribing, sharing to as many people as possible. Until next time, talk to you soon.